Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing whether Man City can sneak up to Arsenal in a title race this season. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way to help me build a small community on my channel. Okay, we've recently just hit 252 subscribers. Can we go all the way and get the big 300? Hopefully, we can get it sooner rather than later. And yeah, let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Manchester City beat Liverpool 3-0 at the weekend on Super Sunday and one absolutely amazing result in their title race. Okay, hopefully Man City can sort of get a few more points on the board, keep on getting those 3 points, and potentially catching up to Arsenal sooner rather than later. Because at the moment, at the time of recording, okay, they're only 4 points behind the North London club in Arsenal. From that point of view, you've got to think to yourself, what will it come down to at the end of the season? When you think about those last 10 games of the season, will Arsenal bottle it? Will Man City sort of be able to keep hold of their momentum of recent form, at least anyways, and potentially overtake them, if you like? I'm not too sure. But if we just start off talking about this game against Liverpool, okay, for me, you got to think to yourself, okay, it was absolutely incredible from minute one, just because they were the more dominant side, had most of the possession, they had all of the shots. Okay, I think they had like 17 shots compared to Liverpool's 7. So from that point of view, it was a little bit disappointing. And Erling Haaland was having a few chances. Jeremy Doku was absolutely causing riot for Conor Bradley down down that left hand side of the pitch, of course. And for me, Jeremy Doku was probably man of the match, but we'll talk about him in a minute, okay? Well, let's talk about him now, actually, because that's where pretty much almost the first goal came from. Jeremy Doku running past 2 or 3 of the Liverpool midfielders, getting past Conor Bradley into the box. Obviously, Jeremy Doku went down through the Georgian goalkeeper, sort of contacting him, if you like, left out a sort of a late tackle on him, if you like. Jeremy Doku, he does go down in the box, and obviously VAR rule it as a penalty, if you like. And then you got to think to yourself, who's the best striker? Who's the best player on the pitch to score you a penalty when you need him the most? Erling Haaland. However, that was not the case whatsoever in this game, was it? Erling Haaland, the Norwegian striker, the top goal scorer in the Premier League, couldn't get our penalty over the line. For whatever reason, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was his little run up. Maybe it was, the build up to that, penalty. Maybe for me, I don't know if it was a penalty, just because you got to look at yourself. There was minimal contact with Jeremy Doku. There was a late little challenge on like the goalkeeper, like with his foot. Okay, there was only a little bit of a challenge, little bit of a tackle on Jeremy Doku. For me, I don't think it was that much of a foul. I feel like maybe, you know, yes, you've seen them given. Yes, you've not seen them given. It's always a tricky one when it goes to VAR. You just never know. For me, I just didn't like it, just because it wasn't that harsh. I feel like maybe Jeremy Doku probably made a little bit of a meal of it, if you like. But maybe you got to think to yourself, maybe it's a little bit smart from the Belgian winger to get a penalty in there. But then again, he's absolutely he was causing him absolute riot this whole game, wasn't he? So yeah, for me, when you think about a penalty from Erling Haaland, it wasn't that great, was it? It wasn't that clinical. It wasn't ruthless enough like we've seen from this season, getting like 14 goals or something, whatever it is. But anyways, when you think about the first goal now, you've got to think to yourself, okay, you know, it did actually come through Erling Haaland, and for me, it was a little bit of a difficult challenge than the penalty, because when you think about the goal, obviously it came from the right hand side, nice little cross into the box, and Erling Haaland sort of did a nice little floating header into the back post, okay, and again the Georgian goalkeeper couldn't do anything to save it, okay, it went literally straight past him. He gave it a nice little glance over there, and the ball just went straight past him into that bottom corner. For me, you know, I don't get it for Erling Haaland. He makes it so hard. He makes the penalty look so hard, and he makes the header look so easy. It was a bit of a weird one from that point of view for Erling Haaland in this game. Again, but when you have a striker of his quality, probably the best striker at the world football at the moment, okay, Erling Haaland, he has to be scoring 14 goals in the best league in the world, okay, by far, the best striker in the Premier League, by far the best in Europe as well, for me anyways. Let me know in the comments down below, who do you think's better than Erling Haaland at the moment. Is it, Mbappe? Is it, who else is there? Eagle, Thiago? No, definitely not him, okay, even though his second goal, his second for top goal scorers in the league. I just don't know who it is. For me, when you've got Erling Haaland, you're never in trouble, are you, going forward? It's just, for me, Man City this season is defensively. I just don't get it. Obviously, you know, at the moment they've won 7 games, they've drew 1 and lost 3 games as well. From that point of view, when you compare it to Arsenal, they've only lost 1. So from that point of view, again, it's only 2 more. It's only 2 more losses. Compared to Arsenal's 1, okay. It's the high stakes in the Premier League, isn't it? You know, you think to yourself, second in the league, that yes, they've only lost 3 games, that's amazing. But then when you compare it to first in the league, Arsenal have only lost 1. So you've got to make sure your defence is just as good as Arsenal's, because they're the fine margins that goes into these into these games, getting the 3 points for your team. So from that point of view, I just don't know whether or not Man City have the defence to keep up with Arsenal this season. That's where they've sort of let them down, because for me, Ruben Diaz, I don't know whether he's shown his world-class quality that he used to have back in the day for Man City, at least anyways. John Stones is probably their best defender. However, again, I feel like he's probably fallen off a little bit, whether that's through his injuries, whether that's an age is a concern, whether, you know, he's probably, I don't know, probably played too many games as well for Man City. Maybe he needs a fresh start, I'm not too sure. You know, and then they've got their fullbacks. For me, I don't really rate their fullbacks massively. You know, obviously they've got, what's his name? Rico Lewis. They've got Gvardiol. I'm not too sure if I particularly rate them. They've got Yait Nouri as well, who hasn't really done that well this season. Of course, he's fantastic offensively, but defensively wise, now I'm not too sure. When you think about Man City's team, they're going through a transition period, aren't they? They are going through a transition period where they're lacking that world-class talent they used to have back in the day with, you know, Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, Aguero, David Silva, Vincent Kompany. They don't have those leaders in the team now, do they? For me, they've got too many passengers in the side. When you think about world-class players, they've probably got 2 to 3 guaranteed world-class players in Erling Haaland, Donnarumma. I still feel like John Stones on his day is a world-class player, but you don't really see it that much, regularly enough for Man City these days. And then for me, their midfield again. Yes, okay, you've got Rodri. He's probably he's probably their 3rd world-class player. However, again, he hasn't really been that same player since he got injured last season, of course. Last season. I was going to say at the start of the season, but yeah, it was last season, wasn't it? So yeah, for me, their midfield is too. They've got too many bystanders in the midfield. They don't do enough. Don't get me wrong. You know, Nico Gonzalez did very well to score that second goal. It was a very well taken goal to score the second. Nice little deflection from Van Dijk. So you could say probably did get a little bit lucky. Again, I just don't know how well Nico Gonzalez has sort of transitioned into that side. For me, he's been average at best. He hasn't really performed as well as you would like to be that sort of Rodri replacement. Then again, it's a very high standard that Rodri has set over the recent years. For me, Jeremy Doku scoring that 3rd goal was absolutely amazing. He definitely did deserve that. You know, he was probably the best player on the pitch for me, Jeremy Doku, and you know, he's amazing every time he steps on the pitch. You know, he's got the raw pace, he's got the dribbling ability, he can score a goal here and there. However, for me, with Jeremy Doku, it's all about his consistency. Don't get me wrong, he's probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 every game. However, you know, if he wants to make that world-class level, to be a Pep Guardiola winger, like with the likes of, you know, Leroy Sané and Raheem Sterling, you know, if he wants to become like a 15 to 20 season goal scoring season winger, right? Okay, you've got to be performing like 7 or 8 out of 10 every game, okay? And I don't think he's doing that of late. But if he can put performances like he did against Liverpool, I feel like he'll be absolutely fine. We'll have to wait and see for the rest of the season, okay? But again, if we just quickly end the video talking about Liverpool, okay? This was such a disappointing result for them, just because they probably needed the victory more than Man City did, just because of how far down they are in the league. When you think about Liverpool now, they're currently sitting in 8th in the Premier League. You would not have thought that at the start of the season. I feel like I say that statement pretty much every video when I was talking about these teams. But it's just true, isn't it? You honestly wouldn't believe the champions would get rolled over so easily by Man City compared to where they were last season. 3-0 was a massive, massive scoreline. for me, when you think about Liverpool, they've probably signed too many players. And again, I would not have thought at the start of the season. I was thinking they would easily roll over, every team in this league and comfortably, win the Premier League once again, get back-to-back trophies in the Premier League. But I couldn't be more wrong, could I? It just goes to show you can have all these opinions, you can throw all of the opinions out there into the football space and whatnot, but you can just never predict it. Football is so hard to predict, and that's what makes it so special for me, at least, anyways. But yeah, for me, Liverpool, I don't know what's going wrong with them. Their defence, their midfield, their attack is just all not working whatsoever at the moment. For me, their defence was amazing last season in Van Dijk, in Konate, in Trent, in Robertson as well. And again, I feel like, at the moment it's just not good enough for me. You could probably look to the goalkeeper saying, like, obviously, of course, Alisson is sort of injured at the moment and he's not really done so well in the Georgian goalkeeper. The Georgian goalkeeper's not really done so well to replace him. Maybe some might say, why would you ever get rid of Kelleher, selling him to Brentford? Would Kelleher sort of do a better job? Now, for me, Liverpool are so far behind. They're sitting on 18 points. Okay, how many points is that off? That's like 8 points, isn't it? Off Arsenal at the top spot. So I feel like they're definitely out of the title race. I don't want to say it because it is so early on. We've only played 11 games. However, you know, it's going to be hard to sort of catch them up. And when you think about Arsenal being so amazing in the Premier League, when you think about Man City being at a close second as well, only 4 points off Man City, don't rule them out whatsoever. They're sneakily going under the radar, aren't they, this season, Man City? So we'll have to wait and watch for them. Again, I just don't know if they've got enough world-class players in their side like they used to, where they easily, comfortably got those Premier League titles across the line over their belt and whatnot. So yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? How would you feel about Man City potentially going under the radar to challenge Arsenal for the Premier League this season? How many world-class players do Man City have in their team? Do you feel like Erling Haaland can sort of carry Man City to that Premier League title? Can their defence sort of match Arsenal's? Who has the better defence, Arsenal or Man City? And yeah, where do you think each team will sort of end up at the end of the season? Do you think Arsenal will sort of just run away with their lead? Do you feel like Man City will do decent enough to catch up with them, or will they probably just, fall off a little bit? We don't know. But yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. It goes a long way having me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 252 subscribers. Can we go and get the big 300? Hopefully we can do that sometime soon. I'll be absolutely over the moon. I'll be buzzing. And yeah, I just want to say, I really do appreciate the support, most recent videos, the likes and the comments on social media as well. It definitely is going unnoticed. I just want to say I'm trying my best to sort of keep up with all of these videos while I'm, doing my uni work at the same time. So I really do hope you appreciate that as well. And yeah, I do hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.